At the end of tonight's episode, Barry tells Iris, "You made a hard call, but in the end you made the right one." My only problem is, I don't think she made it for the right reason. But I'll get to that once we hit spoilers. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing The Flash, Episode 9, Don't Run. And what a great title for an episode. What a great concept for an episode. And with it, we're going to have to go into what it means to be a speedster. And, of course, what it means to be a comic book fan. And before we go any deeper into this, I want to just talk about what it means to be a speedster, though. To be moving at a speed that no one else can move at. And I gave them a bunch of problems because just the speed he thinks at in order to be able to run at those speeds. He comprehends, he thinks at those speeds. But maybe he doesn't, and tonight's episode gives us a great reason why. Perhaps when the speedster isn't moving, when he isn't tapping the speed force to accelerate in some way, shape, or form, he's still living at our speed, which means that he doesn't go nuts sitting there and waiting for the commercials because it takes 10 years his equivalent. At least that's the way they kind of portrayed why he didn't want to tap into the speed force at the beginning of tonight's episode, and that makes sense with how things play out. Now, for those of you that don't know, what I do here is I pick apart stories, mostly ones I enjoy because my theory is that every story has something worth getting from. And as I review them, I also do theory videos on every Sunday and Throwback Thursday to older ones. If that sounds interesting, click the subscribe button. Last week, Iris and Barry got married. No, this is still before the spoiler section because that's last week's episode. And a whole bunch of things happened because there was a big crossover. And we're going to have to talk about that first in the spoiler section. So let's throw this up and get started. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. Basically, every episode except for Supergirl has a major status quo change coming out of this. And for The Flash, I want you to think about the fact that there's no way DeVoe actually saw this coming. So any bit of help or any thought process that came out of this should have given Barry an edge in outthinking DeVoe. But part of this also is my problem with how they handle speed in general. Like I said above, if Barry wants to, he should be able to sit there and go, you know what? You could outthink me on a one-for-one basis, but I can speed my brain, and once I'm drawing on the speed force, every second is like a million years for me. I can outthink you. But since Barry doesn't always use that in the comics either, and it would make the episodes really boring, I'm not going to give them too much about that. I mean, we're going to let that slide and talk about tonight's episode, and there are some problems in it, but for a mid-season finale, I think it's pretty good. Because let's really think about this. Yeah, we didn't get every character in it, although I would like to point out Elongated Man's back, even though he didn't get invited to the wedding for some reason. Even though he doesn't have a code name yet, which he does point out, or the purple on his suit. He has probably the best arc so far this season. But alright, let's take a look at how Team Flash works. Right now, we have Iris in charge, and Barry and Wally as speedsters. Now, Wally is off running his own little sub-missions, which so far are just cool Easter egg ideas. Elongated Man is still guy in training. And let's not forget, we still actually have Vibe, too. I don't know why we don't remember that more. However, we then primarily have people that are faster than Flash and him having to outrun them. I will admit this season, not so much. But I want you to think about this for a second, because this episode starts with two villains attacking at the same time and kidnapping people. And even if Blacksmith didn't actually plan it that way, Thinker totally did. He totally made this, you have to choose. And here's the thing. Iris chooses, well, we're going to try to save both of them, and it keeps being pointed out we don't have the resources. Thinker knew this was going to happen. I mean, how could he not? He plans everything. So, okay. So, she's going to waste resources, but then she decides, based on Caitlyn's in a weakened state, we need to rescue her first. And I'm like, right call, wrong reason. We know DeVoe is probably 3 steps ahead of us. And we know that trying to find Barry while DeVoe is blocking him even from Vibe's vibe is probably going to be all but impossible. But you know what? Once we get Caitlyn back, we have a little more ammo, another Thinker to try to outthink the Thinker, is the right answer. At least in my mind. Let me know what you think down below. And of course, then again, I'm still bugged by the fact that other evil Flash, Savitar, said, hey, we used something called a neural inhibitor. Why is no one bringing up using a neural inhibitor? What is a neural... Okay, I don't really know what a neural inhibitor is. I could just use those base words. But we get a great moment where we humanize the Engineer and DeVoe when we realize just how much of a partnership they have and the fact that they would do anything to stay together. And really, they're the reverse Iris and Barry for the episode. At the same time, we get to see Blacksmith kind of has a badass origin herself. One that makes you sit there and think twice about exactly how evil she is. No, she's evil. They're all evil. Can't forget they're evil. But she's manipulative. And she's smart, too. Don't let the fact that the Thinker's our main villain take away from that. I'd like to point out that Blacksmith has managed to stay under the radar and was created in the first boom. So she knew enough to not use her powers in such a way as to attract Flash's attention. But alright, so Thinker kidnaps him. It's all one big ruse to try to get his master plan going, which I guess puts him in the head of the telepath. Yay, and we also find out why he had to get that restraining order against Barry, and why we had to sit through what I think is one of the weakest episodes this season, when no one believed Barry, so that we could get the trial of Barry Allen. We actually had a little bit of a tease for that at the end of Season 1 when he saw all those possible futures running through the time warp. But okay, so this brings me back to the fact that Barry had to think not to run. He had to tell himself, don't run. But I wonder how well DeVoe really thought this plan through, and how much of this was luck. I mean, seriously, I want you to think about this for a second. You're on the phone admitting your plan to Flash to keep him in the apartment. He now knows you're the new DeVoe. You know all of this, right? Well, Flash could get there like that, back and forth between his apartment and his house. Yeah, he doesn't kill people, but I mean, seriously, he could have just run back and grabbed you by the throat and been like, DeVoe! But it makes something the Reverse Flash said last week mean a little more. But I also want to go back to that crossover wedding for a moment. There was someone there that didn't quite make sense. The waitress that said, remember to say I do? I'm still thinking that's going to come back as some sort of time traveler. Maybe Bart's cousin X's from the future. But I'll tackle that along with some theme and symbolism stuff more when I do my mid-season wrap-up next week. Like last year, I'll try to do first a Supergirl, then a Flash one, then an Arrow one. I'm still not sure if I'm reviewing Legends of Tomorrow other than the crossover, but either way, the Berlantiverse is kicking serious butt. And did you see those commercials for Black Lightning? Alright, well, whatever you want me to cover, though, in between now and when Flash comes back, do me a favor. Leave me a comment down in the comment section. What do you think is something interesting to talk about what's happened within these 9 episodes? And maybe I'll do a Berlantiverse wrap-up Q&A as well. But for now, what I'd like you to do for me first is hit that thumbs up button and like and share this video. It really helps me build the community out, and I've been trying to build it for a while now. And of course, if this is your first time here, click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because that helps us out too. I'm in the 70s, I believe 75 as I record this subscribers. When I hit 100, I'm going to give away an Amazon gift card and a special video just to thank all of you that have been with me all this time. But for now, I hope you have a good night, I hope you enjoyed The Flash, and I hope you enjoyed walking with me through the heart of Don't Run.